What is going on, everybody? It's the front, and we're back again with another reaction here. We got some restrictions coming up for the next set of Elestrals clashes coming. I'm pretty sure this will take place and hit on the 14th. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what's going on here.
We just set a huge record, and I'm about to change everything.
Oh yeah, shout out to the Elestrals community for hitting 100 plus in a webcam tournament. That is something I don't think anyone thought we'd see yet. But here we are. As soon as that prizing changed to you get to participate, you get something. More people were like, you know what, $25, no problem, it's free shipping. I get these packs and a stamped card that only those people who are in that tournament are gonna get. Yeah, I'm in on that. So yeah, changing the structure of the tournaments was a smart idea. More people came out, as you can see on December 1st. 118 people registered. I don't think all 118 people played all the way through, but man, what a record.
In case you were sleeping under a Taratless, we just had the craziest Elestrals tournament in our history, with 114 casters throwing down. Our top 8 was filled with incredible talent, and ultimately, Sunsea Jess took the win with an amazing Earth Nexus deck.
Shout out to Sunsea Jess, Jessica Robinson. This is her third premier event. She's done the Elestriad and the last 2 webcam tournaments, and all 3 she has been in the top 2. Came up short to Spicy Sausage, came up short to Distant Coda, and then ended up winning this tournament. So, for the award for coming out of nowhere and just dominating for the most part, Jessica Robinson gets that because she's just been dominating it since she started in the Elestriad.
That combined the power of thunder and water to keep opponents on the back foot the entire time. The clashes were amazing to watch, and we streamed the whole event with full commentary. Shoutouts to Swolax and Caleb for throwing down on the mic. You can watch the tournament in its entirety with the link in the description below, and we'll be uploading every single clash over the next few weeks here on the channel. What's crazy is our next event on December 14th is about to be even bigger. We decided to upgrade our prizing to include a stamped Stellar Galaxy promo just for signing up. Not to mention 2 free packs and free shipping. The prizes get even more insane once you hit top 16 with a stamped Full Art Mount Olympus, a stamped Toxion, a stamped Arcolith, and ultimately the reverse stellar 1-of-1 champion stamped Draking. Make sure you sign up today with our link in the description below, as this is going to be our craziest event yet, and we actually almost filled all of the slots last time, so don't miss out. Now let's talk about the metagame. A few months ago, we released our first limited list, which included Lavalith, Earthquake, and Resting on Your Laurels going to 1 copy each. This adjustment to the game was to allow Divine decks to flourish and enable 2 and 3 Spirit Elestrals to have a chance against the plethora of removal options. Overall, I believe this was a huge success, as we've seen a ton of amazing decks come to the forefront with exciting plays highlighting cards like Argo, Arcolith, Waylands, and many more. Even with this diversity, it's become very clear that in the current state of Elestrals, there are 2 elements that stand above the rest, Earth and Thunder, and they've done so for quite a long time. Both of these elements feature a consistent.
They've been dominating the game since Kickstarter, let's be honest. Like, Thunder, they tried to quell Thunder when they banned Spark It, which I understand. And Jutaya really was an anomaly, in my opinion, banning that, because I don't remember up until, like, right before the ban happened, many people playing Jutaya anyway. So that one just felt like it was, we got to get in front of this before it happens and people start doing this, and everybody's trying to win on first turn. Whereas Spark It was from Kickstarter till they banned it, and like half the decks, if not more, were Thunder Nexus, plain and simple. So I can see why they banned Spark It, and why I see they banned the other one, limiting. Yeah, Earthquake definitely, and Earthquake would have been. Here's the thing: Earthquake was originally supposed to be, like Earth Element would have been immune to Earthquake, which would have made that card bannable like from jump, because everybody would have had it out there, or it just would have made the game a lot more hectic than it is. And Earth Nexus would have been able to reign supreme because nobody would be able to hit over it or use Earthquake on it, so that would have made Earthquake even worse. But yeah.
and power level that other decks struggle to keep up with. And that, in conjunction with a limited card pool, since we're only 3 sets into the game, has resulted in a metagame that strongly favors 2 particular deck types.
Dan, this is your fault because of your just how you built the game. You gotta take this one, man, and sit there and realize, yeah, this is on you for why this is like Earth and Thunder are as powerful as they are, while the other ones aren't. Fire, I love Fire. Fire is still hurting compared to other decks, plain and simple. There's almost, unless you're doing Blaze vs OTK, which is not foolproof, you're not playing Fire. The Bears deck, which I know he loves the Bears. Bears don't do anything, but yeah.
I have a vision for Elestrals, and my intention is to make the best and most fun trading card game in the entire world. I believe Elestrals is at its best when players can explore any of our 8 elements and find success, and I'm going to be implementing some significant changes to the game to allow for this to be the case in both the short and the long term. Before I do that, I want to emphasize a few key points. Changes to the game are never permanent. It's always possible we reevaluate cards at a later time when a metagame has evolved. And most importantly, as new cards enter the card pool, new possibilities exist. I fully expect a few of the limited cards today to come off the list in the future based on our internal testing. I definitely understand the importance of letting a metagame develop, and my intention is not to just hit the strongest deck just because. Earth and Thunder have been the strongest deck since Elestral's release with base set, and I believe that with our current 4-month release cycle for new sets, which ultimately equates to 3 sets per year, there's a really good opportunity for us to look at tweaks to the game in 2-month increments. For example, we're releasing a limited list right now. Moonrise becomes legal on February 1st, effectively shaking up the metagame. And if we're looking to make another adjustment to the metagame, it would come around April 1st. This doesn't mean we'll definitely do a list, and it doesn't mean we won't address something egregious. It's just meant to serve as a general time frame to ensure the metagame can remain fresh and exciting for players. One of the biggest complaints I hear from players about other games is how they don't communicate. So I'm doing my best to change that and be an open book about the decisions I'm making. And listen, I understand that not everyone will agree with our decisions, but I encourage you to join in healthy discussion as we work together to make the best game possible. I'm really excited about these updates, and I think it will breathe even more life into Elestrals for the remainder of our DayBreak metagame, and also for the arrival of Moonrise and the amazing possibilities that are coming with the Lunar Elements full arsenal. Alright, I made you wait long enough. Let's dive into the changes. The first card we'll be adding to the limited list is Equilinks. Equilinks is an incredibly powerful Earth Elestral that chews up back row at an insane frequency, and combined with the stat boosting powers of Demeter, has become overwhelming for many decks to compete with. I do believe that Equilinks is a card that even at 1 copy has a place in Elestrals, especially when combined with the in-element searcher Ramagem. But I think the other elements need some time to catch up to Equilinks' raw power.
I don't know. Yeah, I can agree with Equilinks being not banned because it's not that powerful. Obviously, yeah, you can take it out. Any other types keep it out, but like, yeah, like your opponent having 3 Equilinkses, if you put one down, the next turn they put another one down. It does definitely get overwhelming.
Up, we're limiting Elechick to 1 copy. During our last limit,
I don't know. Elechick's not that big of a deal because it's not just like it's used in Thunder decks. It can be used in Earth Nexus. It can be used in Fire Nexus. It just, I don't know. Elechick doesn't seem that bad. But hey, it is what it is.
I emphasize that I want to allow more divine usage, so putting Elechick here may seem a bit strange. I want to be
it's strange because Plucky does the same thing, but yeah, I just, you want more divine usage, but you're putting Elechick. Are you gonna do the same thing with Plucky because Plucky's the solar version of this basically?
up front and say that future design space will focus around cards like Fawnlit that search for one specific divine, rather than a generic searcher. This limit to Elechick is more so focused on the future of Elestrals for that reason, but in the short term, it also helps curb the power level of Zeus and Demeter combined with Elechick's frequent search. This effectively makes Elechick a 7 attacker in those situations, and it's very difficult to combat. The more defensive option, Plucky, the Solar Elestral, still remains for those decks that really need to access their divines quickly. This next card has become one of my favorite cards in the game.
Also, Plucky is defensive and not offensive, so basically having, like, you're not going to sit there and go, let me put Plucky out there and then make it, use it with Equilinks to make it a 5. or use it with Zeus or something because it's a one attack in the Mexican or not so much. So yeah, I guess putting Plucky on there, I mean keeping Plucky as it is, I'm sure we're gonna see a lot more Plucky use than we are Electric use going forward.
But I believe, much like its fellow Lith counterpart Lavalith, Arcolith has become a little too game warping at the current time.
I mean, if you go and watch the finals of this last tournament, which was MBT versus Sunseed Jess, MBT spent the entire the entire clash trying to get out Arcolith. That was his strategy, just get out Arcolith, and it would not come for him. So yeah, like having Arcolith be like that, you're dependent on that. That's what you're building your deck around, is to get an Arcolith out to cause havoc. Is an issue, because if you're just watching your finals, the finals of your biggest tournament ever, and Sunseed Jess is dominating MBT because all he's trying to do is get Arcolith to get all those spirits back to destroy his opponent. That's not fun to watch. Like, that was the biggest issue I had with the finals, was that MBT, who's way better than he showed on that finals, was just sitting there for 2 clashes in a row looking for Arcolith, and neither time could he get Arcolith to come out.
Monsters are forced to play a very specific way to even have a chance against Arcolith, and it becomes so splashable in other decks that it creates a really volatile game experience. With Moonrise releasing the new rune, No Stone Unturned, it makes the Liths all searchable. So I believe limiting Arcolith to 1 makes a lot of sense, as those consistency tools will be introduced in Moonrise to allow you to search for that 1 card and then have it be a part of your strategy. Continuing our limited list is Race to the Top. Race to the Top is a really fun card.
This card is really fun, aka like a bunch of BS. This card is absolutely just terrible. If you're not playing Thunder deck, this card it's terrible. So yeah, this one should have just been outright banned in my opinion.
That allows Thunder to excel even further by being a premier removal card in a deck that runs in-element search for their stadium, Mount Olympus. I showed in our last limited list that I wanted to bring the amount of removal in the game down, and we're continuing that trend with Race to the Top. Magnaros and Moonrise, alongside the consistency of Astrabbit, will make Race to the Top a viable option even at just 1 copy. And last but not least on our limited list is a card that is definitely going to surprise you. None other than Farrageist. Farrageist at the time sees virtually no competitive play, but it looks to be one of the strongest cards in Moonrise once the full power of Lunar is unveiled. Now listen, I'm personally not a huge fan of limiting cards before they perform at events, but I do believe this is a special exception.
I don't see Farrageist doing, like, even when Moonrise comes out, yes, there'll be other ways to pull it out, but I just don't see Farrageist seeing that much play. And anyway, who's running more than 1 Farrageist anyway?
Thus limiting a lot of the removal options like Resting on Your Laurels and Earthquake, the opportunity to counter a card like Farrageist is drastically reduced. Farrageist, in conjunction with the new counter rune Full Moon, becomes a very easy card to ascend into that can often result in a lost game state for an opponent almost instantly when it hits the field. By limiting Farrageist to 1 copy, it encourages the Lunar build to include
Again, who's running a 3 cost at more than one each? Like, seriously. Even if Luna comes out, I don't see him. I don't think I'd ever see myself running more than 1 Farrageist if I was to run Farrageist. Same thing with like Chronodile. Why would you have more than 1 of those? Triphono. Why would you have more than 1 of those? Why would you have more than 1? I mean, Celeste Leo, I guess, is one that you can talk about, but it's like, how many people are gonna sit there and say, yeah, I would run more than 1 Farrageist?
Malice and Nexus, giving the opponent more opportunity to prepare counterplay. Now before I get to my final announcement on these changes, I want to introduce a brand new semi-limited list for Elestrals that will limit cards to 2 copies per deck at maximum. We have 1 addition to this list, and much like I've mentioned in the rest of this video, I do think there's a chance that this card comes off the list in the future once more cards get added to the card pool. That card is none other than Viserys. Viserys being semi-limited.
This one, I'm not surprised. Viserys is definitely, like, my first clash, if you've seen on this video, on this channel, was against a deck when I only had a Trifernal starter deck and I didn't have any other cards. My opponent pretty much just bullied me with 3 Viseryses. Yeah, Viserys is definitely an issue. It really is. So limiting this to 2 is fine, because if you limit this to 1, what would be the point of nobody would play Viserys, because you can't take advantage of its effect, which is to get a second one out. Third one, yeah, definitely is way too much because it gets plus for each Viserys on the field. So you can get that thing up to plus, what is it, 10, and your opponent just can't come back. You'd have three Viscerous on the field at plus 10, and I think plus 1. Never mind, it's plus 1. So yeah, like plus 7. So that's plus 7. They would all be. You have 3 Viscerous with 7. Now, unless your opponent's able to get out a Blazerous and have the Forge on the field to be able to hit into 2 of those, you're not going to see many. Like if your opponent has 3 Viscerous on the field, they pretty much win. Plain and simple.
Limited to 2 is simply a frequency-focused adjustment to encourage players to use cards like Rummagem or the upcoming Ardbud to find this powerful Earth Elestral. I believe Viscerous will still be a very strong contender across many decks. This change just makes it so you only can use its effect once, giving your opponent more opportunities for counterplay. I told you guys we're going to shake things up. A massive change to the competitive landscape for Elestrals with Equalinks, Elechick, Arcolith, Race to the Top all being limited to 1 copy, and Viscerous being added to a semi-limited list, limited to 2 copies per deck. And I want to let you guys know that these changes don't just come out of nowhere. My team has spent the last few weeks testing these limits, and we found that both Earth and Thunder are still very strong even with them. In a lot of cases, these decks would swap around a few cards for the next best options, like Galaxy or Eddie or Rummagem, and they keep on dominating. I really do believe
it wouldn't surprise me when in a future limited list we see Eddie get limited to 1, because it's also a menace for.
As new sets are released and more cards are added to the card pool, that the power level between the elements will be closer. But for now, I hope these adjustments lead to a more diverse metagame. And to be sure of that, in addition to all of the limits I have just communicated, we will also be temporarily limiting Zeus and Demeter to 1 copy each until February 1st, when Moonrise becomes legal. This means that the entire limited list will go live for December 14th and our next webcam tournament, and it will also limit Zeus and Demeter to 1 copy. However, Zeus and Demeter will be removed from the limited list on February 1st to create a new metagame with the welcomed addition of the full suite of the Lunar Pantheon in Moonrise. I don't know if any other card game has ever done anything quite like this.
Oh man, Bean Soldier's gonna have to do a lot of work, because he's the big Earth Nexus guy right there. And anyone else doing Thunder Nexus. Arcolith going to 1 is very smart. I definitely want to get. I'm still trying to hopefully get an Arcolith for my main deck here. I've been trying to get one of those. I haven't had a chance to. But like, man, Viscerous going to a semi-limited was smart, because again, if your opponent gets 3 on the field, you're pretty much lose. There is nothing you're gonna be able to do unless, like I said, if you do Blazers OTK and you're able to get like, oh well, you have those 3 Viscerous on there. Let me get the Blazers on the field. Hit 2 of them, because I have Helios Chariot Ride running to hit 2 of them. Get up to the big dog and hit the 3rd one. Not too many people are going to be running that to be able to counter that, and then you're just screwed, because there's almost nothing you can do to get rid of 3 Viscerous on the field who are at a 7 attack. Yeah, Equalinks does get kind of annoying because it is back row popping, and honestly, if you're not protecting that one, if you're playing Earth Nexus and you're not doing everything you can to protect that one Equalinks on the field, then you're not playing Earth Nexus right. You gotta have the counter ruins on counter ruins on counter ruins to make sure that that thing stays on the field, so your opponent can't play those ruins and can't keep you from Nexusing. Honestly, I'm surprised Equalinks took this long to get limited. Elechick definitely. The only reason I could say Elechick does get limited to 1 is because of the meter, not Zeus, because it's a 4 attacker. Plucky's a 1 attack. You're not gonna sit there and go and get a Demeter with Plucky, disenchant to boost it up, and then hit over as 4, because there's not too many that's gonna be there. Honestly, Plucky's gonna probably be a bigger. We're probably gonna see a lot more Plucky play now because of that. And Fairgeist, I don't know. I would like to see what people would do with Fairgeist before they put it on here. But again, I'm just one of those people who doesn't see like a Fairgeist doing more than 1 per deck just doesn't seem right to me. I don't think many people would sit there and go, well, Fairgeist is this strong behemoth who can't be taken out in battle and can only be done away with resting on your laurels in Earthquake. and Veritaqua. Veritaqua, if you have it down in like Veritaqua is a counter to Farrageist. But let me know what you think in the comment section below on the limit list. Like I'm not surprised on most of it. The Farrageist is surprising. Electric, I guess, like we do. I mean, having Plucky at 3, I could definitely see a lot more Plucky play happening. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'll see you guys for the next video whenever that comes out. Hopefully in the next coming day or so. Until then, my name is Franz, and I'll see you guys later.